I worked for Lagoon for a total of 8 seasons. At this time, it's 2012, and I'm an operations department coordinator. And so that was kind of mid-level management, per se. I was responsible in my shift for about half the park. And that meant at the end of the day, I was responsible for collecting all the different safety documentation, all of the daily ride reports, everything that we do, all the documentation that we do to make sure that the rides and the experience that all the guests have here at Lagoon are 100% safe. So all that paperwork has to get processed at the end of the day. And so all the supervisors are bringing in all that paperwork, and I'm their manager, all the supervisors' managers. So my last supervisor checks in and she says, "Oh my gosh, I left the clipboard for Centennial Screamer out on the Wicked transfer track." And I'm like, okay, it's past 11 at this point. I want to go home. She wants to go home. We all want to go home. And she was the last one, and I was like, okay, you stay here and you get working on all your paperwork that you need to do, and I will go out to Wicked and I will get the clipboard. And so I'm walking out over here and I'm making my way back, and I'm going the back way. We have a back way that goes back here behind Roller Coaster, goes underneath Roller Coaster's lift, and comes out over here by Spider, and then lets me out over here in front of Wicked. So I go out there and it's dark and it's starting to rain just a little bit. And I walk out here and I get to Wicked and I go into the transfer track area, and sure enough, the clipboard's sitting right there on the control console for the transfer track. I grab the clipboard and I start making my way back. So as I left Wicked, and you have to understand, the park is dead quiet. The park's been clear for at least 45 minutes. There's not a soul in sight. I'm completely by myself. All the park lights are off. So, it's a little bit eerie, to say the least. And then the dispatch alarm at Roller Coaster breaks the silence. And that makes me stop, and I'm thinking, okay, like someone left something on at Roller Coaster. Someone left the ride on. They forgot to turn it off. And our maintenance guys are, they're going to give us a hard time in the morning if they come in and the ride's turned on. It's been left on all night. Not to mention it's just wasteful. So I go up into the station and I make my way up around that first bend, and I come up into the station. One train's sitting there in the station like usual. The other one's out on the transfer track, all covered, put away like it's supposed to be. And so I go into the operator's booth, and everything's turned off, everything's normal. No reason why that sound should have gone off. So I decide, well, must have been a weird fluke or something. And I step out of the operator's booth, and as I'm closing the door behind me, I can hear this laugh. And it was kind of a high-pitched female laugh, and it stops me dead in my tracks for a second. It's enough to make all the hair on my arms stand up. I mean, all the employees are off the park. There should be no one out there. I know, I should be completely by myself. And so at this point, I'm making a pretty brisk move. It's enough to scare you. And I think, okay, come on, your head's just messing with you a little bit. You're gonna be okay, whatever. And I've still just got that feeling. I'm really intense. My heart's pounding, and I hear the laugh again. And every fiber of my being says, "Do not look up into the station. Do not look up into the station. Do not look up into the station." And of course, I take my moment and I look up into the station, and what I see is this ghostly figure of this small teenage girl pointing and laughing at me. And I don't take too long to look, but it was just enough that it was burned into my memory. This figure of this girl who's short and skinny, and when I look down to her feet, she wasn't touching the ground. And as I see this and I have this split-second image of this girl pointing and laughing at me, I immediately don't take time to have a conversation with her. I am just booking it. I am absolutely gone, and I am out at the rides office again. I don't stop to take a breath. I just am gone. I get back into our office, close the door, and then I get to breathe. And everyone's like, "What happened to you?" And I tell them my story, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Roller Coaster's haunted." And so I did some research on it the next day, and I had known that there had been some accidents on Roller Coaster. From what I had found out, there was a girl who was killed in an accident on Roller Coaster in the 80s. And when I saw her picture, it was a match. And as I shared that story with other employees over my years at Lagoon, and shared that with other employees and other maintenance guys, and they said, yes, they've had similar experiences. And when I tell this story to other people, it still is a scary experience to me. It's not an experience I care to repeat ever. For the people that have had similar experiences here at Lagoon, it's kind of a cool, legendary thing, but also a really reverent thing to be respectful of the things that have happened here. I mean, Lagoon's been open for over 135 years, and we always say it's bound to get a few ghosts. I haven't seen her since, but to this day, she still resides here at Lagoon, still haunting. So you can take the story for what you want. For me, it was a very real, very horrifying experience. But to me, I mean, Lagoon, it's still what fun is. I mean, and it's been fun for over 135 years. And it's got a few ghosts who just love the fun and don't want to leave, I guess.